Give everyone another minute or so and then we'll get started.
You all look lovely.
Thanks, Rihanna.
Thank you.
I just see a few more people have just joined us now. We'll give it a few more minutes. Just let everyone get on. We've probably got a few people finishing up their working day. For those of you who are on, if you do have any questions, we will be addressing them during the open home. So please feel free to pop any questions into the chat and we'll make sure we get them covered off as we move through, either at the appropriate time or at the end. I've got a few more on there now. Okay, well, we might make a start. Anyone else that joins us afterwards can catch up. We will have this virtual open home recorded as well. So if anyone does want a copy of the recording afterwards, we can share that with you. We'll just need to obviously get it saved to a relevant spot and then we'll be able to share it. We will try and endeavour to answer everybody's questions as we move through the virtual open home today as well. So as I mentioned, any questions, just pop them in the chat. We'll either cover them live or they'll be typed in if there's something that you need kind of a reference to. So just keep an eye on the answers in the chat there as well. I'm just going to start and run through all of the images for the property and just give everyone a little bit of context around those, a little bit more description than perhaps what you can automatically see. If I can just have someone confirm that you guys can now see the facade of the building.
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect, thanks. All right, lovely. So just for those who are not familiar with the location, this is Little Bourke Street along the front here where the car and the truck are parked. So we don't actually enter the apartment from Little Bourke Street. This is a little cafe down here. We actually come down this laneway and the entrance is just kind of by where this car is here. So the entrance to our building is here. We are right opposite a really gorgeous little Italian restaurant here. So it's kind of a nice, nicely presented little laneway and, you know, it's nice and wide and quite presentable. So it's a nice sort of entrance to come into. I will get to an image a little bit later on that sits down the back. You can see this bluestone building at the rear here. There is a little park in the back there. So you've got this really gorgeous kind of red warehouse precinct and then you've got this little green open space at the back there, which is lovely to go out, sit and enjoy some sunshine, you know, read a book, those sorts of things. You do get some nice northern sun down in there. On the other side of the building here, this is the old Great Western pub just on the corner here. There is also a laneway that separates these two buildings. It does look a little closer than what it actually is in this photo. And on the other side of the pub there, that is King Street that runs down along there. Some of you may be aware that the Great Western does have an approved permit on it. It was originally approved to build 26 residences. Last year, they applied for a different permit to build a commercial office space. So that was approved in June last year. The residential permit was actually approved back in 2016 and nothing has actually happened with it yet. So whilst we don't know whether anything will go ahead, there is a permit approved if someone did want to build on that site. You will have the protection of the laneway there. So there is still plenty of opportunity for, you know, light and a feeling of space from within the apartment, which we'll have a look at a little closer in a moment. As we enter into the apartment, we arrive into the kitchen. So the door is sort of just in between at the end of the bench here. Can everyone see the kitchen shot there? Steph, if you can confirm.
Yes, yes, that's changed.
Wonderful, thank you. The kitchen has been recently refurbished. So the only original element in the kitchen is actually the tile floor down here, but it is in good nick. So all of the bench tops, the cabinetry, the appliances are all new or relatively new. So that's a bonus for anyone moving in. There's sort of nothing to do. You do have gas cooking, which is preferred, electric oven. Again, your stainless steel dishwasher here. You have some nice covered space there as well. So a nice little functional kitchen with nothing to do. On the other side of the island bench here, you do have some clearance. So if you wanted to pull some stools up along there, have a glass of wine whilst you're cooking and chatting to a friend, you can do that too. I'd probably go ahead and make some changes to the light fittings through here. I think some nice recessed LED lighting would sort of further modernise the space. And these are a little dated. So that's just one thing that could be left for the next owner to do. As we move past the island bench, you're looking out into the living area here, and we will take the virtual tour in a moment and sort of show you how that space transgresses across. Out of this window here, this is a huge window. You probably don't appreciate the full size of the window from the image, but it is a really massive window. Flooring through here is relatively new as well. It's like a laminate timber look floor. And of course, you've got your beautiful vaulted high ceiling through here, which you'll be able to appreciate from the next image. So this gives you a much better appreciation of the height that you can enjoy in the apartment. It is really open and it does have that true lofty feel. If someone wanted to, you know, they could sort of glaze this in or put a more solid fitting here. But, you know, the space really works quite beautifully being semi-open. And given that it is a one-bedroom space, I think most people would prefer to keep that lofty feel. And you can see here why I mentioned earlier, I'd probably just change these to some really nice little recessed LED downlights. You could then perhaps pop a big, you know, semi-industrial pendant or a beautiful classic kind of chandelier into this space here and make that a feature and sort of hide this other lighting, which, you know, is quite dated. It's the old oyster lighting. And as we transgress up the stairs, you can see you're starting to appreciate that volume within the apartment and the size of that living area as well. We've got a comfortable 4-seat dining table here. If you wanted to go to a rectangular dining table, you could probably actually comfortably seat 6. And you do still have a lovely sort of area here for your living. You could put in some additional occasional seating as well. Up to the bedroom, the overall size of the apartment is 66.5 square metres. So it's really quite big, and you probably start to really appreciate the space once you see this room here. This is furnished with a queen size bed and obviously bedside tables. And this is like a trestle desk, which has actually got quite a bit of decent width on it as well. So it really does give you appreciation for what you can fit up here if you wanted to. And it does give you quite a nice working from home space. This aspect for the window and the skylight is out towards the west. And so this is also going to continue to provide light and a feeling of space for you, even if the construction does go up outside. Bathroom has also been refreshed. So again, nothing to do. It's nice and fresh and bright and clean. Shower over bath, very obvious there. Probably not much that I need to mention in this space for anyone that you can't immediately see. It still has a good ceiling height, which is nice. You don't have any sort of claustrophobic feeling within the bathroom. It's got a generous feel. Just popping back to the rear of the block. So to give you your perspective again, had a little glitch there. Just wait for that image to pop back up. Okay, so this is Little Bourke Street down the end here. Oh, I don't know why I keep losing that image. This is the little park at the back that I was mentioning, so you can enjoy this space here. Keeps dropping out for me. I'm assuming it keeps dropping out for you guys as well. I do have another image. I'll just try and skip onto this one as it might be a bit more staying power. So the building is actually now, get my mouse, just over here. So we're looking onto this park and we look onto this bluestone building from the back of our building, not from the apartment itself, but the rear of our building looks onto this park. You've probably all had a chance to have a look at the floor plan, but just now that I've taken you for a little walk through the bathroom, a couple of things that we haven't looked at, which we can have a look at while we do the virtual tour. You do have this laundry and powder room area downstairs by the kitchen. That's actually quite a nice size. And I have had a few people ask whether that could be reconfigured or converted. This cupboard here sits under the stairs. It may be possible to steal a little space from under here and reconfigure this. Given that you do already have a wet area here, you may be able to accommodate putting your laundry perhaps under the cupboard space and then putting a shower in, which is the question I've had. It would be something that you'd need to investigate with a plumber and just have a better understanding of what you can and can't do in there and what it would cost to do that. And then the other thing that we weren't able to see is the robes here in the master bedroom. So as you come to the top of the stairs, you have your sliding doors with your robes there. And then that leads through to your bedroom. So it doesn't actually eat into any of that floor area, which I think is quite nice. We had any questions pop up at all along the way, just yell out if there is. For those that joined a little late, feel free to pop any questions in the chat. And if I don't get to your questions, we'll make sure we do come back to everybody with them, but I think we will have an opportunity to cover them off. This is the strata plan. There may be some people here not entirely used to looking at a strata plan. So this is Brown Alley. You've got King Street over here. So the back of the building that we look out onto sits here. You've got Little Bourke Street, and then the entrance to our building comes down this side, and we come in around the middle of the building. So we come in through here. We then take the lift up to level 2, and we come down the passageway and we come out into the apartment here. And as you can see, this little squiggle here suggests that we are over 2 levels, which you've seen.
Thank you. We have another one here too. What are the body corp fees?
Yeah, so owners corporation fees, let me just pull this up. It's a good opportunity for me to show you this document that we have. If anyone is ever looking for any information, it must be provided by the agents. So we actually give a little extra on our statement of information. So depending on what website that you're looking on, it'll often say click here for agent price guide or statement of information, which is what it's technically called. And we give additional information. So on the statement of information, you can see our price range here. The guide is $400 to $440. We recently sold another apartment, smaller in the building, 1 level down, that faced out over the garden at the rear. It sold for $460. We have pulled the price back a touch on this one, just understanding that people will be a little hesitant of the fact that there is proposed construction. As I mentioned earlier, the permit was approved back in 2016. Nothing has come up yet, but it is the inner city, and you can't guarantee that something won't come up one day. So we have factored that into our pricing. We're considerably larger, and we are over the 2 levels, a more loft style. The other one was single level. So we've made that adjustment for people, but that's your price guide there. We then have our comparable sales and things as well. We also provide additional information down here, which is the owners corporation fees, which someone has asked about. So we have our council rates, our water rates, and our owners corporation fees there sitting at quite reasonable, $3,200 per annum. And then our total fees for the year are $4,894. So that is available on every one of our listings. You just need to know where to click to find it. So hopefully that does help people find that. Any other questions there, Steph, before I move on?
No, you can continue. I've also just popped that link there in the questions and answers for people to click on as well.
Perfect. Now I'm just going to pull up our virtual tour. Just bear with me a second. So does that come across for everybody?
I can see the website link.
Yep.
Oh, you're about to open the video? Perfect.
Okay, for anyone who perhaps hasn't already found this, this also sits on all of our listings. Depending on which portal you're on, it does sit in a slightly different spot. I know people do have a little issue navigating these sometimes. So you can click and drag with your mouse, and then you'll see little white dots. I'll show you one in a moment, where you can actually move through the apartment and take yourself for a little guided tour. So this is where you would see the construction out here, which would be potentially an office building. You'd still have all this beautiful height here to enjoy all your light and aspect that does still come through. Looking back around to our kitchen, which you saw before, these are the little dots that you can actually move yourself around the apartment. So if we want to move to this part of the, spun you around, turn back around here, and we get to see the kitchen from the other side. We didn't get to see it from this angle before. This drop ceiling could potentially be lifted as well. There are a number of apartments that do have a drop ceiling that they have been able to lift. It's very much a construction style at the time. There will be some services and things in there, but you could have a look and see exactly what services are in there to see if you may be able to lift that ceiling if you wanted to enjoy a bit more height in that kitchen area. This is the understairs storage. Unfortunately, I don't have an ability to walk into that particular room for you at the moment, but that's the cupboard that sits underneath the stairs. This is our front door taking us back out into the hallway, and this is our powder room here. So I'll just take you into the powder room. As you can see there, you've got room to mount your dryer. Your washing machine would go here. It is a little kind of distorted in the size because it is a tight room for the particular technology to capture, but it is actually quite a good size when you're in the space. That's a standard size little trough there. And then spinning around, you have your toilet. And then you can see you've got your door there taking you back out into your kitchen area. So if anyone needs to go to a particular part of the apartment, let me know and I will take you there. Otherwise, I will just keep zooming you upstairs.
Sorry, Dione, as you're going up the stairs there, we have had another question come through. Do you have the section 32?
Yes, we do have the section 32 available. So we can send that out by an email link. So we will reach out to everybody after the viewing here tonight, and just make sure that we have covered off on everybody's questions, and make sure that those who need it do have a copy of the section 32. It is quite a straightforward document. There's nothing too complicated in it, but of course it's always worth having a look over. So bedroom here, great to have your aircon up in this room. Obviously it is the upper level, so nice to have the aircon there, and that will also push cool air downstairs over your void. And this is really giving you a little bit more of a sense of the space that we were talking about before. So you can see that the desk area here is quite large. And I'll take you back and show you the robes. So this area here is your wardrobe that we looked at on the floor plan. Into the bathroom. It's not quite the same as being able to show you guys through in person, but you know, it's nice to be able to still show you through something. Hopefully on the 23rd, we'll be able to get you guys through in person. It's a really cool space, fantastic first home, excellent for like an Airbnb, a good little lock and leave. It's quite down near the legal precinct. So it is actually a lot of legal people that currently occupy the building, range of ages in there, but you know, lots of quality professional people in the building as well. So if you did decide to look at it from an investment point of view, the rents are a little light on at the moment, just as we still recover from last year's big lockdown with COVID. We do expect that we'll have a little bit of a jump in the vacancy rate again with this current lockdown, but not to the level that we had last year. So we're just still really waiting for, now that the legislation has kicked in, we need to wait 12 months to be able to increase rent. So it'll take about 12 months for us to start being able to increase those rents now that they have started to balance out that vacancy rate.
Just on the topic of lockdown there, Dione, we have another question there following the other one. Can I still buy during lockdown?
Yes, absolutely. If we have someone who is interested in making an offer, we would certainly put that forward to our vendor. What I would recommend is, and I have discussed this with our vendors and they are open to it, that we just pop a little clause in there to say that it is subject to you viewing the property within 7 days coming out of the lockdown. That just gives you the peace of mind that you have done all of your due diligence, but you just get that opportunity to put feet through the door before you make that final decision. So if anyone does want to make an offer, yes, we can certainly accommodate that. We have the contracts, and so we can do that. All right, is there any other questions that anyone would like to put forward? I know a common question that I do get around apartments that don't have a car park, which I'd be happy to cover off for you guys here. There's no car park that comes with this apartment, and there's no car park in the building, but there are a number of car parks nearby, for example, Wilson Parking and Care car parks. They will do permanent leases for people, like long-term leases. The other thing we recommend is if someone wants to buy one, there's a couple of portals which I'll get the girls just to pop the links into the chat for you. It's parkhound.com.au and findacarpark.com.au. You can jump on there and you can look for one. I always recommend find the perfect one to lease first, get one leased, and then set your parameters and wait for the right one to come up to buy nearby. In this part of town, you'd be looking at approximately 50 to 60,000, depending on the exact location and the exact car park. There are parts of town where the car parks will sit between sort of 38 and 50, but here with the legal precinct, you're probably looking at about 50 to 60. There's our little equipment, don't mind that. That's your robes there again. All right, so not sure if you guys have found this helpful or not. I hope that it's sort of allowed you to get a bit better feel for the property, get better feel for our technology that perhaps you haven't used that you might like to have a play with. I will just quickly show you here. This is the floor plan that actually comes with the virtual tour. So you can see by clicking this little button here, it will actually bring you up and show you where the camera is actually placed within the apartment. So again, if you're just trying to get a better feel for exactly where the rooms or how they're laid out and what the space is, if you just have a look at where the camera has been positioned within the floor plan, it will help to give you that better idea. All right, if there's no other questions, I might just start to close things up. Give me 1 second. All right, so if anyone does have any questions that we haven't answered or that you've been a little too shy to ask on the presentation today, please feel free to take a note of our details there, or if you're already working with one of our agents, reach out to them. We'd be happy to cover off any of those questions for you. We will send out some correspondence just in follow-up to the open home today. And as I said, we're really looking forward to being able to get you through properties in person. Hopefully that's sooner than later. But in the meantime, if you're looking to join any of our other virtual open homes, we will be notifying people of those. And we'd also love some feedback. So if there is any feedback that you have, we'd love to hear it, because it's a new thing for us doing virtual open homes. And we'd love to see if there's anything that you think would be helpful that we could add for you.
One last question has snuck in there, Dione. I popped my hand up. We're just wondering what the settlement terms are for this one.
Okay, good question. So the preferred settlement by the vendor is 30 days. Given that we would then be looking to allow someone to inspect, I think that's going to be a little tricky to meet. I think it's probably more likely going to be a 60-day settlement, or we could write it as 30 days from confirmation of the inspecting the property. That would make sense. Preference is exactly that. It's the owner's preference, but if you're not able to meet with an owner's preference, given that we are working in a private sale situation, not an auction situation, you are welcome to put forward your offer to the vendor. The vendor will then come back and let you know if that is not acceptable to them or if they need to renegotiate the terms. So usually the better or the closer you can get to the vendor's terms, the better. But if you can't get there exactly, put forward your best and we'll see what we could do.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all very much for attending, taking some time out of your beautiful afternoon where you could possibly be out getting your 2 hours of exercise and joining us today. And yeah, we look forward to getting back in touch with everybody and speaking to you soon. Maybe some of you are jumping on to our next Zoom where we're going through our property in Flinders Street. For those who are leaving us, thank you very much, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.